Hi, this is Mark Tibb speaking. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
So in 1959, World Heavyweight Champion Floyd Patterson loses his heavyweight crown to Ingemar Johansson. In the following year, 1960, in the immediate rematch, Floyd Patterson defeats Johansson and becomes World Heavyweight Champion again. 1978, World Heavyweight Champion Muhammad Ali loses his heavyweight crown to Leon Spinks. Later on that year, in the immediate rematch, regains his World Heavyweight crown by defeating Leon Spinks. In 2001, Lennox Lewis, he gets stopped by Hasim Rahman, and later on that same year, defeats Hasim Rahman in the immediate rematch to regain his World Heavyweight crown. Last year, 2019, Anthony Joshua loses to Andy Ruiz Jr. and then regains his World Heavyweight crown by defeating Andy Ruiz Jr. in the immediate rematch. So that's four in the history of the heavyweight division. That's four heavyweights who have lost the World Heavyweight crown and then won it again in the immediate rematch. It's not many, is it? Deontay Wilder had the opportunity to become the fifth heavyweight in history to have lost his World Heavyweight crown, a bit more specific, the WBC, to Tyson Fury, but had the opportunity to become the fifth heavyweight by regaining the World Heavyweight title in the immediate rematch against Tyson Fury. Sure, it's a tall order, but the opportunity was there. That's the point. So when you look at it, and the reason that I'm doing this video, first and foremost, is to give you guys a bit of useless information about the history of the World Heavyweight titles, in the sense of only four champions in history have ever lost a belt and won it back in the immediate rematch against the same opponent. Wilder could have become the fifth, which would have been legacy. Okay, now that rematch is no longer happening, he no longer has that to add to what could have been a legacy. He doesn't have that anymore, because Tyson Fury, he will be defending his World Heavyweight title, WBC, on December the 5th, with opponent yet to be announced. So that whole opportunity of a legacy defining fight, which would have been for Wilder, has now gone up in smoke. And the reason that I'm doing this video is to not just point out that fact, but for quite some time, we've heard some of his fanatical fans talk about how Wilder, he's going to be breaking records and doing this and doing that. Well, this was one record that he could have done, but didn't take the opportunity, for whatever reason it may be, whether it's Wilder's fault or his team. Hey, you decide. In time, we'll find out, I suppose. But for some time, his fans have been talking about how he's going to get to 49-0 and equal Rocky Marciano's record, and then beat it by going 50-0. Even Wilder said about this once before. And it's not just a case of going that long undefeated, no draws, no losses along the way, until you get to that 50-0, and he's going to retire and sail off into the sunset. So even when he had that draw with Rocky Marciano, that record was out the window anyway. But before he got the draw with Tyson Fury, this is what people are talking about. So every single target that his fanboys have come up with, Wilder hasn't been able to accomplish. I know people talk about how he's had 10 World Heavyweight title defenses. Okay, cool. Against who? Against who? So his legacy is now in question, is it not? I mean, it was always questionable before, but his legacy, not only will he never be able to beat Rocky Marciano's record for the most amount of wins without any defeats and draws, but he can no longer become part of a very, very small group, become the fifth heavyweight to have ever lost his World Heavyweight crown and won it in the immediate rematch. So even if Fury defends that belt on December the 5th, and if Wilder goes and fights somebody else, well, it's not an immediate rematch, is it? Because Fury's already done something else now. So he can no longer be part of that small group. And it's not about whether or not he would have done it or could have defeated Tyson Fury. It's not about that. The chance was there, but he didn't do it. Much like many things, he never fought the best of the best. He avoided the Klitschko's. He avoided Anthony Joshua for $100 million, back-to-back fights, with the first one being in America. All he had to do was fight on his own. $100 million. Undisputed, gone. Tyson Fury is currently in line for the Anthony Joshua fight for not only mega money, but for undisputed as well. Wilder's got to look at his career and go, you know what, I've certainly overachieved, because of course he did set out to become somewhat of a journeyman. He got into boxing just to provide a living for his family, which is great, especially with his daughter with spina bifida. So what he's done, sure, he's certainly overachieved from that perspective as far as finances are concerned, but it could have been so much better, could have been so much more. And his fanboys be talking about how he's got a Hall of Fame resume. I mean, have a word, have an absolute word. But anyway, this is just something else that popped into my head that I thought was important for you guys to realise exactly how much Wilder has given up, or maybe his team have cost him. So he could have become the 5th heavyweight champion to have lost his crown and then won it again in the immediate rematch. He can't even achieve that one now. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, catch you on the next video.